Hello and welcome to day 2 of our 5-day challenge. So we are talking about how to grow your list with live free content. And again, I'm so excited to be here on day 2 of the challenge. Day 1 was yesterday. So yesterday we were talking about how to nail your niche and get really clear on who your ideal client was or is. And if you were here yesterday, fantastic. I did ask you to do some homework last night, so I'm hoping that that has been done. And please say hello when you jump on. And if you've done your homework, pop it below, because I would love to go through some of the ideal client descriptions we were talking about yesterday. So the way that things are going to work today is that we'll do a little bit of a recap of yesterday and go through the homework that people may come up with, that I'm hoping they will. And then we will move on to our day 2, which is today. So today we're going to be talking about my simple step-by-step formula for creating irresistible content that your ideal clients can't say no to. So that is another really exciting topic, and it's the next step after deciding on and defining who your ideal client is. So yesterday we were talking about how it's really important to have a clear picture of who you are talking to, because if you haven't got that in mind, if you're not really specific when you are putting out your marketing, then you're going to be attracting either a lot of people who may not necessarily be your ideal client and who may not want what you have to offer, or you may end up attracting crickets and no one, because you are so general that you're not really being clear enough in your messaging to get the right people. So what we did yesterday was really come up with a definition, a paragraph that describes you and your ideal client, what you do for your ideal client and how you help them and what they are struggling with and the solution that you have to offer them. So that's what we went through today, and a few people were very great at putting up a description of their ideal client, and we had a little bit of a play with those. So if anyone would like to put that up today, even if you're watching this later, then I'm happy to come back in and look at your tweaked versions and see if we need to make any more just a few little improvements or changes can make all the difference with how powerful your message is. So please pop them in below if you're coming in here and watching this later. So that was your homework. So your homework yesterday was to, number 1, to define your ideal client in one paragraph. And I did send out the ideal client blueprint to those who had requested it to give you a little bit of a hand with that. And the next thing to do was to write a list of 10 questions for you to ask potential ideal clients as interview questions. And also to come up with the first 5 people that you are planning to interview and ask these questions. So you can do some more research and get really, really clear on who you're talking to, so that everything that you put out there is so much more clear and targeted. So pop in your homework below. As I said, if you're popping in later and watching this as a replay, then I'm happy to come back in later and do any little critiques or feedback on what you pop in. So please pop your homework below. Let's get on to today. So today, as I said, we're talking about the step-by-step formula for creating irresistible content that your ideal clients can't say no to. Now that sounds wonderful, doesn't it? To know that everything that you are putting out there, all the content that you are creating, is going to be precisely targeted to the people that you want to target, and that the offer or the copy that you're putting out is really going to grab them and make it a no-brainer for them to do whatever it is you're wanting them to do, whether it's to sign up, whether it's to get on your newsletter list, whether it's to join your Facebook group, whatever it is. So there are various types of content that you can create, and all of them have their place. Some of them can be more effective than others. There's free content and there's paid content. There is content that you prepare earlier, and there is live content. And live content, of course, is going to be the most powerful, because It's happening in the moment. It's exciting. Even something like this, which is live content, is also available as a replay afterwards, but has the powerful aspect of video and being able to connect with the person who's talking, which is me, Pauline, and being able to interact and see how I speak, see how I interact with you. And it's much more personal and able to build that relationship rather than me just writing a post. So adding that into your repertoire is a really good idea for an online marketer or an online entrepreneur. So the other types of content that you can be putting out there. So you've got your live streams, which I'm doing now. So in my group, you can do a live stream on your Facebook page. You can do it on your personal page, depending on what your aim is and your intention. You can obviously write social media posts that you can put in various places, particularly my favorite is Facebook. You can write Instagram posts, you can create images, you can do tweets, you can have Pinterest boards. All those different things are ways of different types of content that you can put out there, and it's going to strengthen your brand. It's going to also make you more and more visible and make you remembered so that people are going to start noticing you more. You can email market, and that's a different way. That's away from the social media, but that's actually getting into the inbox of your ideal clients. So if you get their email addresses, that enables you to email to them. And that's, obviously you can't guarantee they're going to open the emails, but you've got a higher chance of reaching them if you're able to email market. You can create those live events that I was talking about before, things like webinars, where people have to register to their name and email to attend the webinar, something like we're doing today, which is a live stream, which you have to ideally register for, because then you're able to get the email reminders and you'll be able to have the access to the replays afterwards. By the way, if there is any ladies who you feel would benefit from attending this challenge and taking part in it, then please let them know. If you're talking about it, use the hashtag Live Free Content Challenge and share the registration. I did pop it up yesterday and I'll pop it up again today underneath in the chat box underneath, just so that you're able to really build the buzz about our challenge, and also to share this this challenge with people who would benefit from it, who are online entrepreneurs, who are looking to grow their list, who are looking to grow their online presence and have more of an impact, because live free content is a brilliant way to do that. So as I said, webinars, podcasts, if you can create either your own podcast or start putting out the word that you're available to go on other people's podcasts, that's a great way to get your name out there. Running those masterclasses or virtual workshops, which are all a similar thing, just with a different name, and it makes them sound a little bit more interesting if you can give them a different name to other than webinar. Online workshop, virtual workshop, challenges, all those sorts of things are brilliant ways to build your profile, and they are great ways to put out that live free content. So have a think about now, what free content are you going to be creating? What live free content are you going to create? Now, what I usually recommend for my clients is to start simple and start with something that you can create that's a freebie that you can then use to promote your business or to start building up a buzz around you and what you do. So a lead magnet, a freebie, whether it's a template, whether it's a checklist, whatever it is that's going to be something of great value to your potential clients and will make them, that appeals to one of their biggest pain points or pleasure points. There is that, appeal, hit on the pain, really niggle in at the pain, or really build up the dream picture, the outcomes that they can get by consuming whatever this lead magnet is. And once you've created the lead magnet, that is your entry point into their inbox, into their sphere, and you can then start to move towards paid content as time goes by. But start off with your freebie. And the aim of the freebie is for you to start building up a relationship with these people, building up a connection, showing them that you know your stuff, that what you create, what you do, the services that you offer are something that they are really going to enjoy and benefit from and will solve a burning problem that they have. So really getting clear on the lead magnet that you're going to create is the first step, and then deciding what is it going to lead into, what live free content would you like to create. Now, if you are really someone who's prolific and wants to do everything possible, then of course you can do it all. I do recommend, though, with anything, to choose one or two things to concentrate on rather than trying to be a master of everything, because I know there is that quote that I won't get right, which is master something of everything and master of none. So if you have too many ways that you're trying to spread yourself to, then you're going to end up dabbling in little bits and pieces and not really actually getting good at any one of them. So if you can do that, that would be much better. So choosing something like, maybe I usually do webinars. I find webinars are a great way for me to showcase what I do, and I will do a webinar each month, and I'll also incorporate a live stream. So possibly in my group, I will do an organized live stream. I was doing live stream lunches for a while where people would have to opt in order to get the reminders and to get the offers and get the replays of the live stream, but they were run live in my group. And the great thing about that is that you can do that with no technology. All you need is your phone or a computer or a laptop, but the phone is the easiest. The phone usually has your best camera on it, and you can just jump in and start going. You can create an event in your Facebook group or on your Facebook page, and you can promote it ahead of time, but it means that you can do it simply and easily. Sure, other people can join who haven't registered, but it gives you that chance of making it a more formal thing rather than just popping in and doing a random live stream. Or you can jump up to the more advanced type of content, live content, which is something like a webinar, where you use the webinar software. So I use GoToWebinar, which if you're starting off, it can be a little bit pricey. So, but it's brilliant in terms of being able to set up the webinar, having your reminders go out automatically. Everything is done for you. You just turn up, and it's a very robust platform. It enables you to use your PowerPoint or to use video and record and have lots of different features. Bring people on to talk. You can interview people. You can either have audio or video of other people if you're running, for example, a training call as well. That you can do that on there as well. Something like Zoom is a brilliant way to go as well. It's a lower cost, but doesn't have the webinar type features where you can do the PowerPoint and the video that you can do on GoToWebinar, and it's more of a community atmosphere. So it depends on what suits you. The main thing is that you do something and you find something that's going to work for you, a way that you can deliver live content, free content, to start building up the people who are on your list and growing your database. So start with your freebies and then move into your paid content. Give as much free content as you can. Now, don't be afraid of giving away your best stuff, because this is how you are going to really build that know, like, and trust factor with your audience. And you are going to also show them how much you know and how suited you and they are to work together, because you are so expert at solving the problems that they are having. Then this is the way that you can offer. If you say, for example, I'm spending an hour with you on a live stream or on a webinar, and I'm giving you great information, I'm giving you my best stuff, I'm telling you how to lose 5 kilos as a new mum, and I'm going through the steps, I'm giving you everything, I'm not holding back. At the end of that hour or hour and a half, however long the webinar is, that is the time that you are most receptive to anything I may have to offer you. So if I decide to offer you my 6-week course on how to become a yummy mummy, then that's when you're going to be at your most receptive. It's very different to me going into a random Facebook group that I've never been in before and offering my course. Offering from live free content is just such a powerful way to do it, because you've had that time that you've spent together. You've built up that know, like, and trust factor, and they are ready. They are loving the information you've given them. And if you have structured your training correctly, you've made them aware of what their problem is, and then you've also made them aware of, you've given them some strategies, you've told them how they can eat right, they can exercise in only 15 minutes a day, but you've also opened up the book and made them aware of what they still need to know. So the next step, well, they don't actually know how to structure this exercise. They don't actually know how to write a menu plan. You've given them the strategies, some strategies, but just to bring it all together, the ideal solution is going to be for them to do your program. So that's what you want to get to. You want to be able to build up, give them great stuff. Don't tease. I mean, you can tease a little bit in a live presentation, but don't hold back on everything. Give them something. Give them all of a couple of points. Say you've got 5 points in your program. Give them the first 2. Or give them a little of each point. But don't just give them an overview with nothing of value that they can take and implement. The more that you can do of that, then the more chance there is of them wanting to take that next step with you and actually become a signed up customer or client of yours. Now, okay, so we want to create an irresistible lead magnet. And then we want to use, the way that you're going to do this is to use that ideal client research that we did yesterday. So you have now, if you've done what we talked about yesterday, if you've done the homework, then you have a very clear picture of who your ideal client is. And you have either done some research in asking them questions, the actual ideal clients, or you have plans to do that. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about at the minute, then you need to go back and watch day 1 of our challenge, which happened yesterday. And that's when we went through how to get really into the mind of your ideal clients by talking to them, and the types of questions that you can ask them, and how to have interviews with them, and then take the information and the great valuable market research you are getting from doing those interviews, and then using it to develop your programs or to tweak whatever it is you have to offer and make it more powerful and more targeted towards your ideal client. So what we're going to do today now is to come up with a way for you to choose the topic that you're going to then create your free content around that is going to be irresistible to your ideal client. So this is my irresistible freebie topic formula. Now there are 6 parts to this formula, and what I might do is go through them one by one, and then we will recap them. So number 1, which we've done yesterday, is to be 100% clear on who your target market is. This is number 1, and this is before you really do anything with marketing in your business. This is such an important part, because if you don't know who you're talking to and you're trying to put something out there, then they don't know that you're talking to them because you're not clear enough. And as you know, it's very busy in the online world, and you have to be able to stand out. You have to have a message that goes directly to your ideal client and to them alone, so that they, you've seen or you've heard the stories about the law of attraction. And if you decide that you want to buy a car, then you get that little bit clearer and you decide that you want to buy maybe, now I'm not a car person, let's say a blue car, which is very specific. And you might even make it a little bit more specific and say you want to buy a blue blue sports car or blue BMW, for example, blue BMW sports car. Now, all of a sudden, your brain has been tuned into that. You've told it, I want a blue BMW sports car. This is what I want. This is what I'm interested in. This is what I'm putting out there. Have you noticed when that happens that all you see are blue BMW sports cars? It's like they've suddenly multiplied, and that's all that there are on the road. They're everywhere. Now, do you think this has actually happened, or do you think it's more that you are suddenly have that awareness of what it is you want, what it is you're really yearning for and putting out to the universe that you want, and the universe is giving that back to you if you believe in that? And that's what happens with your messaging. If you are someone who is if you're a new coach, for example, and you're wanting to get more clients and you don't know how to get more clients, and you're a health coach, for example, and someone puts out a message saying, if you're a health coach and you want to get your first 3 clients, is that going to appeal to you? That's exactly the wording that you've got in your head. So that is going to stand out even if you are scrolling through a news feed fast. Those words will stand out to you because that's what your top of mind problem is. And you can, by having done the ideal client research, you know what your ideal client is complaining about, what they're worried about. And you can therefore use that to create the topic for whatever it is you're going to offer for your lead magnet. So you want to find out. So as I said, step 1 in this irresistible freebie topic formula is to be 100% clear on your target market. Who is your ideal client? And who is this freebie for that you're creating? And what pain or pleasure point are you going to address? So get really clear on what is going to be a top of mind problem for them and choose that as your topic. Then you're going to do your research. You're going to keep your eyes and ears open and listen to what the buzz is in the Facebook groups and in the different places that your ideal client is spending their time. You're going to find out what they're talking about, what they're complaining about, what the hot topics are. And those are going to be ideal for you to use as a way of choosing an ideal topic. So listen to the questions that they're asking. What are many people talking about over and over again? Those are the ways that you're going to really be easily able to find out what topic to choose for your freebie. So number 1, be clear, 100% clear on your target market. Number 2 is to do your research. Then you want to ask for feedback. Come up with a couple of topics based on the research that you've done and get some feedback asking your ideal audience. Now, when you're doing this feedback, it's really important that you don't lead them too much. You don't say, okay, I've got these 3 topics, which one do you like? Because they might not like any of them. But if you're not giving them any leeway beyond that, they're going to choose from what you've given them. They're not going to extrapolate necessarily and come up with something of their own. What is ideal? What is more ideal is for you to ask them what they want. You can give them a few guidelines, but get them to come up with topics. And that's going to make it much, much more powerful. And also, only ask your ideal client this. There's no point in you putting it out to Facebook in general about whether they want to hear a seminar or a webinar on building your list or attracting your ideal client or creating a funnel or Facebook ads if they are not your ideal client. So if they are a photographer who does weddings, something like that. So it really is important for you to ask the right people. It's just like if you ask your friends or family about how to run your business and they are not people who are in business themselves, or they really have no knowledge at all of what you do except that you are their friend, because they're going to want to help you or they're going to want to protect you and and give you advice that maybe is not the right advice for you at the time. So it's really important when you are putting things out to the world to make sure that you are only asking people who are your ideal client. Number 4 is to then come up with some topics, some headlines based on the research that you've done. Use the 3 P's in these too. And the 3 P's are the person who is your ideal client, their pain points, and their pleasure points. So that you're going to be really specific in the title. So you're going to use the research and feedback that you've done and create some titles. And then the most important bit again is to number 5 is to then do some more research. So take those titles, those topics that you've come up with, and put those out there to the audience. Once you've sort of you've created these ideas for your lead magnet or your free content, then you're going to put them out to the audience and see what they say. So again, poll your audience, survey them, and see what they come up with. Get as much feedback as possible, because there's no point in you thinking something is wonderful and brilliant in your own little bubble and putting it out there to the world and finding that actually you were the only person that thought that and no one else really wants to hear anything about it. So you want to be clear on who your ideal client is and where are we? Their pain and pleasure points, and be clear on what it is you have to offer so that you are tailoring that to their pain and pleasure points. So then number 6 is to come up with the perfect headline. And that is the topic for, we could talk about that all day. I love talking about headlines, but that's not in the scope of our challenge day 2 today. So let's just recap what the irresistible freebie topic formula points are. So number 1 is to be 100% clear on your target market. Number 2 is to do your research. Ask questions. Only ask your ideal clients though. Do your research first. So number 1 is to be clear on your target market. Number 2 is to do your research. So listen to what's happening out in the big wide world. What are they saying? What are they talking about? What are they bothered by? What is going to be a great thing to focus on for you to then put out something that's going to help them? And number 3 then is to ask for feedback. So ask them what they want. Ask them to tell you what it is that you can create that would really make them excited. What are they worried about? Number 4, come up with a few topics or headlines based on this feedback that you've had from them. And then number 5 is to then ask them again. So come up with these headlines, put those headlines out to them. What do you think about this? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? What would make you really stand up and take notice? What would you pay for? Get those sort of questions answered. And that's how you're going to really have a really crystal clear offer that's going to be very irresistible. And then number 6 is to use that research to come up with the perfect headline. Because if you have a brilliant, say you create an ebook and it's got everything that you need to know about how to lose weight as a brand new mum, but it's called the Weight Loss Guide for Women, compared to 5 easy ways to lose weight as a new mum and fit into your favourite dress. Something like that. It can make quite a difference, even though the content of the lead magnet is exactly the same. The title is going to really impact on that. So you want to get feedback on that too. Okay, so where are we? So what you want to do then is to put it out there to the world. It's going to be to, you're going to use that freebie everywhere. And that's your in. That's the way that you're going to be able to get the attention of your ideal client. You're going to start with something for free. Now, as I said, this is a lead magnet is the easiest way, but what we're talking about is free live content. And if you can use that principle that we just talked about to create live content, then that's going to magnify the effect of whatever you've done. So say you create a great webinar. Say you have a great live stream that like I'm doing today. You can then deliver it live, get the great impact from it live, and then repurpose it and upload the recordings, create a lead magnet based around it. It can be part of if you've got a program, for example, you can use those sorts of things as bonuses for your programs, or you can sell them, turn them into products later on. It's fantastic. It's really a great way to use the content you can create in as many different ways as possible. And that's something I'm really passionate about too, is to make things as easy as possible for you when you are an online marketer or an online entrepreneur. There's so much that needs to be created, and content is really, really important and key to your success. And the more you can reuse the same content that you create, the better. All right, so let's just see where we're at here. Okay. All right, so any questions, as I said, please pop them up, pop them in, and I'm happy to answer any comments you have to make. Even if you're watching this later, watching the replay, I will be coming back and checking on this. So what we're going to do now is talk about homework. So homework today is, I want you to come up with 3 ideas for your next live free content event. Now, a live free content event is really something that is obviously live, but it's an event in terms of people need to register for it. And that's what you want to have as much as possible. You want to be able to create, rather than just a live stream you're running in a group that people can just pop in and randomly look, you want to create an event. So something like a webinar, something like a live stream that they need to opt in for. That's what's going to be really important. So come up with 3 ideas for your next live free content event. Decide on how you're going to research them, following the Irresistible freebie formula that we talked about. And I'll pop these 6 points up in the box underneath so that you can review them later on. And then, what live events are you going to plan for the next month? So 3 things, and I'll pop this in here as well, what your homework. So number 1 is to come up with 3 ideas for your next live free content events. And then number 2 is to decide on how you're going to research it. And number 3 is to plan out your live events for the next month. What are they going to be? Are they going to be a webinar? Are you going to have a live stream? A couple of webinars? What's it going to be? Okay, so that's it for day 2. Now, tomorrow we're going to be talking about creating your killer title and super juicy bullets to magnetize your peeps. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about those all-important headlines and titles. And so you don't want to miss this one, because as I said before, no matter how brilliant your content is, if you don't have a great headline, then nobody's actually going to get any further than that. So creating a great headline for your free stuff, creating a great headline for your webinar, for your podcast, whatever it is, your emails it's going to make such a huge difference to how many people actually take the time to read or consume or register for whatever it is you have to offer. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye-bye for now, ladies.